Hey, what's going on, bro? So today I want to help you maintain a lean physique. So there's so many videos out there that teach you how to get lean, but I think the hardest part of just like the whole fat loss thing is staying lean and really just sticking to these habits. So the first thing is just really like the strategy we use. So this is going to be a more long-term strategy. So if you want to get lean super quick, you can do that, but that's not maintainable because you're going to feel like you're starving yourself. So we're going to be taking the long-term approach. Okay, bro, so the first thing you can do to make your fat loss journey or just maintaining a lean physique or maintaining your progress a lot easier is having a smaller caloric deficit. So just if you don't know, a caloric deficit is just the amount of calories you subtract from your maintenance calories. And your maintenance calories is just the amount of calories you eat every day to maintain your current weight. So a lot of us want to lose fat quick. We want to get rid of these rolls, and I get it. But the problem is that a lot of us subtract, have a huge caloric deficit. Like, I want to take 500 calories out of my diet or 800 calories. And the problem with this is you feel like you're starving yourself, and it's really hard to stick with that. So what I like to do instead is just have a smaller caloric deficit. Will the progress be slower? Yes, but it won't feel like you're really doing fat loss as much, and it just feels like a tiny little change you're putting into your diet. So instead of doing 500 or 800 calories a day, you would do 300. So typically a good rule of thumb, because the caloric deficit really just depends on how big you are, how much you weigh, what your size is, all that. What you want to do is just basically subtract around 20% off of your maintenance calories. So how you find your maintenance calories, you can just go to a calculator online and you can find that out, and you'll have a really good idea of what it is, and then just subtract 20% from that. It's usually a good amount where you can see just enough progress, but you don't feel like you're starving yourself. You don't have those hunger pains as much. I know you probably want to get lean quick and you want to get a six-pack super quick, so you want to just reduce the amount of food you eat a lot, but chances are you probably don't have the discipline to just deal with those hunger pains every single day. So I just think it's a lot more sustainable to just do that 20% subtraction of your maintenance calories. So the second thing you want to do is to not eat junk food. And that's fucking obvious, right? You've heard that millions of times. Your teachers, your mom, or whatever have told you that, and you're like, why the hell are you saying that? And I just want to tell you, it's not because junk food has a lot of calories, and that's not the reason. You want to think of junk food as a drug that affects your brain like any other drug.
The problem with junk food isn't just that it's high calorie and that it's bad for you, but it's also because it's an instant gratification activity. And what that does is it makes it much harder to stick to habits and stay consistent, which is really crucial for fat loss.
So really the first thing to just get started with quitting binge eating and just quitting junk food is mindfulness. And this really goes for any addiction. So you're probably going to click off because this isn't the quick fitness advice you want to get, but trust me, if you listen to this, you will make better progress. So usually when you start binge eating, it's because you have a lack of mindfulness. So throughout the day, you know that you need to avoid these foods, bro, and you just shouldn't eat them, they're bad for you, but then you start to think about the foods, you get this little urge, and then you start getting caught up with it in your head, and then you just act on it. And that's because you kind of forgot what you needed to do. And what happened is you lost your mindfulness, you lost your ability to stay in the moment, and you got stuck in your head. And this is the biggest problem with relapsing with pretty much any addiction. If your mindfulness was better, you would be able to prevent these more by not drifting into these thoughts for a long time and getting caught up on the desires. And you'd also be able to catch yourself when you do get in these situations a lot more. So I want you from now on to think of binge eating and junk food like fapping or doing drugs. And the reason why you're probably binge eating a lot is because your mental health isn't that good. Do you think some guy who's living a great life and is super happy with his life, has great mental health and is doing really well, sits alone in his room in a fetal position binge eating junk food? No. So the reason why you're doing this is probably because your mental health is pretty bad. And I noticed a direct correlation when I eat junk food is because I feel like I need to fill a void in my life because I'm feeling a little sad. So I'll make myself happy by eating a fucking hamburger or some chocolates or whatever. So here's what you should do. Every day, try to meditate for around 10 to 20 minutes every single day. And at first you'll think it's stupid, it's lame, it's just bullshit. But if you actually put some effort into it and try a few times, you'll see progress. So pretty much meditation is like going to the gym, and mindfulness are the gains you get from it. So Meditate every day, you'll get more mindful, and you'll get more gains, and you'll get better mental health. So mindfulness is cool and all, but sometimes these urges just get so strong that it feels like we can't do anything. And I know what it feels like. You get this urge and you get almost mad from it. So here's how to like strengthen up your willpower. And it's similar to like how meditating makes your mindfulness stronger. This is pretty similar. So what you want to do is just find like the sort of junk food or thing that you binge eat the most. So for me, this was like chocolates, popcorn, and chips. I would just see this shit and then I would instantly just eat it and like eat a whole bag. And then I was like, damn, I'm such a fucking fat ass. So find whatever you binge eat on the most. So just think of it right now, right? Then what you want to do is you want to just place it in front of you and stare at it like a psychopath. Like look at it angrily, right? What we're trying to do here is we're trying to just build up our willpower. And I know it sounds really weird, but we're just trying to see how long we can go before we start eating this. So if the first day you only look at it, you look at it for like 20 minutes or whatever, and then you fold and then you eat it. Next day, go for like 30 minutes and then keep doing that. And if you can build up that ability to see this food and it's right there in front of you, but you don't act upon it and eat it, if you can do that, then you're building up your willpower and you're really just building up strength to just avoid this food when it's in front of you and when you're in that situation we're about to like binge eat. So I recommend just doing that. I know it sounds weird, but just give it a try. It really works. So yeah, just stare at a food and try to build up your willpower by just looking at the thing that you're addicted to and being able to control yourself. And you're probably gonna fail. You're probably gonna end up eating it, but if you can just do this every day and make some progress, then you'll be able to build it up to a point that'll be useful for the situation when you're like really wanting to just relapse. So the next thing that's really helpful with just maintaining like a lean physique and also just keeping good habits to like stay lean is intermittent fasting. The reason why is because it's kind of like when you eat one snack, that makes you want to eat more snacks a lot more. You know, it's like, it's a lot easier to just eat no cookies than it is to just eat one. Because once you eat one, you want to eat like 10 more because it's really good, right? So that's why I recommend intermittent fasting, is because you're basically just avoiding food in general for a certain amount of time, and then you can eat later. So it just prevents you from like binge eating on snacks. Because pretty much, if you want to lose fat, if you just cut out those like little snacks every day and only eat the main meals, you'll already be on a solid calorie deficit.
And intermittent fasting is a great way to prevent yourself from eating all of those little snacks that you binge eat throughout the day. That was my biggest problem, was that I just kept on eating these snacks and they really just add up and ends up being like 500 extra calories, which just ruins your fat loss progress. So a good amount of time I recommend to basically do your intermittent fasting for every single day is 16 hours. So let's say you sleep for 8 hours, you just fast for 8 hours after you wake up.
This is a little trick that'll help you do like things, especially when you don't feel like it. And I think the main thing we hate doing when we're trying to lose fat is cardio. So the kind of cardio I do is through, kickboxing and jujitsu, and a little bit of MMA. But a lot of times we just have to do the hard stuff, like go on a run or like do a long walk, and we don't like it. So to make that a little bit easier, I just like to combine two things together to make it less worse. So there's a thing you hate and there's a thing you like. So I like listening to podcasts about like science and conspiracy theories, but I hate running. So what I do is I just put a podcast on about something I love listening to and then do running, and it's a little bit less bad. So that's just a really simple thing to do. If there's something you hate doing, like a certain exercise to lose fat, or like a certain, like you have to go run and you hate it, then just combine it with something you like doing. And that'll just make it a little bit easier and easier to maintain, so you can just keep doing it. I think one of the most difficult parts with fat loss is just those hunger urges. And this goes into binge eating, right? Because when you're hungry, you want to eat some tasty food. So I want to help you prevent yourself from feeling like you're starving. So how we do this is through just maximizing like filling foods. So we don't want it, the kind of foods we want to avoid when we're trying to lose fat and maintain a lean physique are really like small foods that have a lot of calories. So this could be like chocolates or super fatty things, because they're not filling, but they have a bunch of calories. So it's a low bang for your buck. We want to find things that are filling but have a low amount of calories. So I'll just list some out. Eggs, fish, mushrooms, potatoes, berries, watermelon. Popcorn's a really good one, but it's not good, like that great for your health. And what I'll do is I'll put a link in the description of a list of all of those, and I'll put the exact amount of calories per serving if you want to track that. So all those foods that I list are pretty filling and they're pretty healthy for you, but they're not that high in calories. Also, there's some foods that just don't have much of a bang for their buck, and I recommend you avoid these. So a lot of like sauces, syrups, like cooking oils can just add like several hundred calories to your diet every single day, and they're not filling at all. So if you want to just like take 300 calories out of your diet every single day, you could just take out like all the sauces, syrups, and oils that you use to cook, and boom, you're already like improving your calorie deficit. Another thing that I did when I was like on a huge cut was to just drink sparkling water throughout the day. So this just makes you feel a little bit fuller. It kind of gets rid of that hunger feeling. So I just drank like sparkling water every 2 hours or so, and that kind of helped with the hunger that I had, especially when it was bad. So like when you're intermittent fasting, sometimes you get hungry throughout the day. So instead of just eating and like eating a snack, I would just drink some sparkling water, and that would help just get rid of those like urges.
I noticed that chewing gum throughout the day also just helps you forget about eating food and being hungry. So that's a good little thing to add. And you also get jaw gains at the same time. Okay, so how do we maximize how lean we look? So you might be around like 10, 12, maybe even 14% body fat, but you look more like you're 15, 16, 17% body fat. And the reason why is because you're holding a lot of water weight, which makes you look puffy. So we've reduced that by reducing our intake of salt and carbs. So if you're eating a really salty diet right now and you're eating a lot of carbs, especially simple carbs, you're gonna look a couple percent of body fat higher than you actually are. So by just cutting those out within like a week or two, you're already gonna be losing some water weight and you're gonna look a lot leaner than you actually are. So I just like to do this because it makes you look a lot leaner than you actually are, which means you don't have to get as lean, and then you'll have less hunger pains and have to deal with that less. So if you're like below 15% body fat, I'd recommend this. If you're above it, then it's not gonna have as good of an effect. But one more thing that I just forgot about that helps you look leaner too are natural diuretics. So that's basically something that helps you flush out more water weight from your body, and some good ones are coffee, pretty much any caffeinated drink. Don't do energy drinks, those are horrible for you. Kiwis and coconut water. I'll list some more in the list that I'm gonna make in the description, but those ones work really well and they work pretty well for me. So I recommend you use those too. All right, that's pretty much it, bro. So I hope this helped out because I used to struggle with this a lot. So I just wanna help you out too. If you like this kind of stuff, you can subscribe if you want. If you don't, then that's all good. You don't have to do that, but pretty much either way, hope you have a good day.